Honorable members, Honorable Speaker arrives.
Honorable members, a very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to the National Youth Parliament session and I hope today's session will be fruitful. Please be seated. We begin the session with vote taking or affirmation of our newly elected members. Secretary General, please.
Vijay Sai Fanteja, who stands elected from Vellore constituency of Tamil Nadu state, will now take an oath or affirmation. Vijay Sai Fanteja, please. Vijay Sai Fanteja, would you like to take an oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language do you like to take the oath?
In Tamil, please.
I,
நான் விஜய் சாய் பனிதேஜா சத்தியத்தின்படி இந்தியா அறிவித்தலைப்பின் மீது உண்மையான நம்பிக்கையையும் விசுவாசத்தையும் கொண்டிருப்பேன் என்று கடவுளின் பெயரில் சத்தியம் செய்கிறேன். இந்தியாவின் இறையாண்மையும் ஒருமைப்பாட்டையும் நிலைநிறுத்துவேன். ஒன்றியத்திற்கான அமைச்சர் என்ற முறையில் எனது கடமைகளை உண்மையுடனும் மனசாட்சியுடனும் நிறைவேற்றுவேன் என்றும் அரசியலமைப்பின் மற்றும் சத்தியத்தின்படி அனைத்து வகையான மக்களுக்கும் நான் பயமோ தயாவோ பாசமோ தீமையோ இல்லாமல் உரிமை செய்வேன் என்றும் சத்தியம் செய்கிறேன்.
Now, I would like to introduce another minister, Miss Madhavi, who stands elected from Bapatla constituency of Andhra Pradesh state. Miss Madhavi, please. Miss Madhavi, would you like to take an oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language do you like to take the oath?
In Telugu, please.
I,
పెరుగు మాధవి అను నేను లోక్సభ సభ్యురాలిగా ఎన్నుకోబడినందున చట్టరీత్యా నెలకొల్పబడిన భారత రాజ్యాంగం పట్ల యథార్థమైన భక్తి విశ్వాసములు కలిగి ఉంటానని, భారతదేశపు సార్వభౌమాధికారము అఖండతను కాపాడుతానని, నేను స్వీకరించబో కర్తవ్యమును సమర్థవంతంగా నిర్వహిస్తానని దైవ సాక్షిగా ప్రమాణం చేయుచున్నాను. Honorable members, it is with great sorrow and regret that I inform this House about the sudden demise of Sri Harikrishnan Vasanta Kumar, member of Lok Sabha from Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu. He was an active politician, philanthropist and entrepreneur from Tamil Nadu. He was better known as owner and founder of Vasant and Co, one of the largest durable retail goods chains in Tamil Nadu. He has served as an MLA for 2 terms. At the age of 56, he became an MLA and served the people of Nangureni constituency with goodwill and in-depth commitment. I offer my deepest condolences to the bereaved family members. May they find peace and strength to move ahead.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, I am deeply saddened to know the passing of Sri H. Vasantakumar, MP from Kanyakumari, a social activist and entrepreneur. He earned his name in the world of politics and business. His devotion to people's cause in Tamil Nadu was inspiring. Condolences to his family, friends, and followers.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, कन्याकुमारी के सांसद एच वसंत कुमार के कोविड-19 के कारण असामयिक निधन की खबर से झटका लगा है। लोगों की सेवा करने की प्रगतिशील गणतंत्र दल की विचारधारा के प्रति उनकी प्रतिबद्धता हमारे दिलों में हमेशा बनी रहेगी।
The House may stand in silence for a while to express our deep sorrow. Thank you all. Please be seated. And now I request Honorable Prime Minister to introduce the new ministers.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, I have immense pleasure to introduce to you and through you to the House, my colleagues, the new ministers. Vijay Kolakaluri, Honorable Minister of Jal Shakti. Ms. Gautami Priya, Honorable Minister of Skill Development.
And now we begin with the question hour. Question number 101. Miss Pallavi.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, in Tamil Nadu, there are many textile industries and Sankaran Koil in Tenkasi district is one of them. Cotton sarees and towels produced at Sankaran Koil are very famous and the products are distributed all over the country. Madam, in this context, I would like to know from the Honorable Minister, what are the steps taken to set up export centers at Sankaran Koil in Tenkasi boost exports?
Honorable Minister of Textiles, Chaitanya Kolluru, please.
Madam Speaker, Tamil Nadu has played very important role when it comes to promotion of textiles. And different parts of Tamil Nadu like Tenkasi, Coimbatore, Tirupur are all contributing in big way in textile industry. We had set up in past special textile parks, small parks under a scheme called Scheme for Integrated Textile Parks. Almost 27 parks have been completed under this scheme and 29 more parks are at different stages of implementation. All these small parks help to promote the ecosystem of textiles. As we experience it, now we decided to come up with larger, much more ambitious scheme called PM Mitra Park Scheme. It is Pradhan Mantri Mega Industrial Textile Park Scheme in which we are trying to take large format 1000-acre textile park and taking these to different states in a challenging mode. So I would urge Tamil Nadu also come in that competition, offer large piece of land either at low cost or very nominal cost. Or could be offered for 15 years or 20 years at low price or very potential price. You could make ease of doing business possible. So various steps are possible. Industry to come to Tamil Nadu. We will be happy to consider any requests that we receive from Tamil Nadu. All these 7 parks have been chosen amongst all states and union territories based on challenging mode. As regards Tamil Nadu, I am happy to share at 3 places, Karur, Komarpalayam, Paladam, we have already completed parks under SIDP and more parks coming up in Karari Nagar, Anna Handloom Silk Park, Seema Textile Processing Center, Pallavada Textile Park and the Great Indian Linen, 4 more parks coming up in Tamil Nadu. Thank you, madam.
Question number 1 or 2. Miss Pujita Kesani, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, will the Minister of Defence be pleased to state number of mishaps occurred in the recent few months with details? If so, mention the actions initiated by the Ministry to eradicate such type of mishap. If so, the details thereof.
Honorable Minister of Defence, Miss Rishta, please.
Madam Speaker, in the recent 7 months, unfortunately, a total of 11 mishaps occurred. The Indian Navy ship Sindhu Raksha, in which 18 sailors died after a fire explosion on the submarine at military dockyard in Mumbai. Fire reported in INS Viran and INS Konkan. Fishing trawler collided with INS Talwar. Hole found in the pillar compartment of INS Vipul. INS Betwa, Tarkashul and Airwell suffers damage. Accidents took place in INS Sindhurat on Feb 2022. Madam, accidents suffered by the Navy vessels over the past few months is really a matter of great concern. The Navy is seriously looking into all accident matters and are in the process of taking corrective actions. It will be seriously observed that such actions are minimized in the coming days. Madam, each accident among all 10 mishaps is equally serious matter for me and my ministry. There was a stick to follow the standard operating procedures and draw proper lessons.
First supplementary question, Miss Pujita Kesani, please.
Madam, whether the government proposes to modernize Indian Navy for not having such sort of mishap. If so, the details thereof with the funds provided for this purpose with the correct year, with the correct information. Whether the modernization provision of India was not hampered due to lack and insufficiency of funds. If so, the details thereof.
Honorable Minister of Defence, please.
Yes, madam. Modernization of Indian Navy is a continuous process keeping in view the prevailing security environment, emerging technology and capability to be achieved. The budget allocation for the Indian Navy for the year 2022 to 23 is 34,212.33 crores, out of which 22,738.70 crores is earmarked appropriated for the modernization purpose.
Madam, may I? I will not agree this, madam. Where are the proofs?
Please do wait for your turn, Mr. Mandip.
Sorry, madam.
Miss Rishta, please continue.
Thank you, ma'am. And here are the proofs to show that government provides sufficient and adequate fund to the Indian Navy to fulfill the modernization process.
Second supplementary question, Mr. Mandip, please.
Honorable Speaker, madam, will the Minister of Defence be pleased to state number of submarines procured in the country, the details of procurement?
Honorable Minister of Defence, please.
Madam, one nuclear-powered submarine has been procured on lease from Russia and commissioned on Jan 2020.
Third supplementary, Miss Radhika, please.
Madam, will the Minister of Defence be pleased to state the status of Indian Navy and its capabilities after such mishaps?
Honorable Minister of Defence, please.
Madam, in the last 10 years, the Indian Navy is advanced, most powerful and modern Navy of the country. That is why almost all the countries, that is all seafaring countries, want to have a joint exercise and collaboration with us. Every year, we are acquiring so many modern equipment such as platforms, warships, T-81, Vikramaditya, etc. And every year, from the shipyard itself, we are supplying 5 new warships to the Indian Navy. Madam, the project and planning of the Indian Navy has not been hampered or blocked after such mishaps. India has a fleet of 15 submarines, including 10 Russian kilo-class vessels, 4 German HW vessels and 1 leased INS Chakra.
No more supplementary questions, please. Question number 103. Miss Raveshri Ramya, please.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, Indian Railway is a lifeline to the nation which provides a great access to our citizens all over the country. It is the cheapest means of communication and million people are dependent on it. But the conditions nowadays has gone wider. The cheapest is no cheaper. Because of the less frequency and high population, the journey has become very difficult. Madam, I would like to know the answers for the following few questions. In the year 2021 to 22, how many new trains in different categories have been introduced? Especially in respect of connecting the northernmost part of India to the main cities of India. How many accidents, collisions and determinants of events had happened during this year? Is the government taking any steps for the safety and security of the passengers in the train?
Honorable Railway Minister, Miss Purna Karthikeni, please.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, in the year of 2021 to 22, we have introduced 109 new trains in all, which is itself a record in the history of Indian Railways. Out of 109, 67 are express trains, 26 passenger trains, 8 memo services and 8 demo services. Besides these trains, 11 trains were extended to give more access to the passengers. Madam, we have taken a great care of remote areas of northern eastern India. 5 new trains were started to connect the main cities of northern eastern India with the capital. Madam, safety and security of passengers is always our first priority, and Indian Railways is deeply concerned about it. But to my grave sadness and with an heavy heart, I am pronouncing that in the year of 2021 to 22, 12 incidents of accidents, 16 collisions, 31 events of derailments, 69 accidents at the crossing without gate had happened. In all, 206 passengers died, 308 passengers got major injuries and 1028 passengers got minor injuries. Government expresses its deep condolence to the victims and their families. Government has declared a compensation of rupees 15 lakhs for the passengers who lost their lives, 5 lakhs for the passengers who got major injuries and 2 lakhs for the passengers who got minor injuries. But the compensation can never settle as before.
Please follow the Decker of the House. Please be seated.
But the compensation can never settle as before. Government has tied up with some international security agencies and IIT in searching new techniques of securities, including GPS system and ultrasonic sound wave system to check the cracks and flaws in railway tracks.
First supplementary question. Miss Raveshri Ramya.
Madam, Honorable Minister has showed a great concern regarding the safety and security of the passengers in her speech, but the conditions are terrible. Madam, I would like to know from the Minister what are the steps taken by the Railway Minister for the safety and security of the women passengers in the train.
Honorable Railway Minister, Miss Purna Karthikeni, please.
Speaker, Madam, Indian Railways accords utmost importance to the security of passengers in railway premises. The security apparatus in stations or on trains is being continuously strengthened to ensure passenger securities. Special emphasis is being given on measures to take care of the security needs of women passengers. To increase the presence of women personnel in RPF, 10% vacancies of every recruitment are reserved for women. GRP and RPF staff and officers regularly attend the trains and conduct surprise inspections at major stations with focus on security of women passengers. Surveillance cameras were installed at key locations at major stations to observe the movements of suspicious elements.
Second supplementary question. Miss Vaishnav Anurag, please.
Honorable Madam, Will the Minister of Railways be pleased to state, even after the very long time, while only 31.33% of railway routes are electrified, is this government taking any steps for speedy development in this regard?
Honorable Railway Minister, Miss Purna Karthikeni, please.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, electrical traction is an environmental friendly, pollution free and energy efficient mode of transport and also offers an excellent alternative to fossil fuels as a source of energy. IR decided to adopt 25 kV AC traction system and thus selected main lines and high density routes were taken up for energization in a planned manner. Today, out of 7 major trunk routes connecting Mumbai, New Delhi, Kolkata and Chennai, 6 were fully electrified and the work is in progression in the remaining Mumbai to Chennai route. Madam, in the 12th 5-year plan, we have set a target of electrification of 2500 RKM broad gauge and 750 RKM meter gauge, and to our delight, we have achieved 80% of the set target by the end of the 4th year of the 5-year plan.
No more supplementary questions, please. Next question. Question number 104. Miss Suha Nikshita.
माननीय सभापति महोदय, क्या माननीय खाद्य एवं नागरिक आपूर्ति मंत्री बताने की कोशिश करें, क्या सूखे की वजह से वर्तमान खाद्य संकट से निपटने के लिए देश के पास पर्याप्त भंडार मौजूद है? यदि ना तो खाद्य संकट से निपटने की सरकार की क्या योजना है?
Honorable Minister of Food and Civil Supplies, Srimati Manasa, please.
स्पीकर मैडम, वर्तमान देश में खाद्य पदार्थ पर्याप्त भंडार में मौजूद है। जून 2012 को हमारे पास 5 करोड़ 450 करोड़ टन भंडार मौजूद था, जो कि हमारे देश की आवश्यकता के अनुसार पर्याप्त है। लेकिन जरूरत पड़ने पर सरकार गेहूं और चावल का आयोजन भी कर सकती है। मैडम, खाद्य संकट सिर्फ सूखे से ही नहीं बल्कि इसके बहुत से और कारण भी है। हम सिर्फ मानसून पर निर्भर नहीं रह सकते, इसलिए खाद्य संकट से निपटने के लिए सरकार ने दीर्घकालीन योजनाएं बनाई है, जिसके तहत कृषि के उन्नति तरीकों का प्रयोग करना, किसानों को सस्ते दामों में खाद, बिजली व बीज उपलब्ध कराना, खराब होने वाले खाद्य पदार्थ के संरक्षण के आयोजन कराना।
Miss Suha Nikshita, please.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving me another opportunity. Will the Minister of Food and Supplies be pleased to state what the government is doing to solve the problems of storage so that the wastage of food grains be stopped?
Srimati Manasa.
Madam, my government is really concerned about the inadequate storage facilities for food grains and edible oils. As the largest procurer of food grains, the center required storage space of 80 million tons, while only capacity for 64 million tons was available now. Because of lack of storage facility, a large quantity of food grain is being spoiled. The center had proposed that states build storage to hold at least 3 months of period stock. But government alone cannot resolve this. So I urge the private sector to work with the government to evolve long-term solutions.
श्रीमती इंदु।
Honorable Speaker, Madam, देश के विभिन्न सामाजिक संस्थाओं और सामाजिक कार्यकर्ताओं में यह मांग की है कि जन वितरण प्रणाली के जरिए बांटे जाने वाले अनाज पर सभी का अधिकार होना चाहिए। इस संदर्भ में सरकार का नीति क्या है?
श्रीमती मानसा।
स्पीकर मैडम, जन वितरण प्रणाली के तहत सरकार हर महीने 6 करोड़ 50 लाख बीपीएल के श्रेणी वालों को 35 किलो गेहूं और चावल प्रदान करती है। इस योजना के तहत गेहूं 4 रुपए में दिया जाता है, जबकि चावल का दाम 5.5 रुपए किलो है। एपीएल के श्रेणी वालों 12 करोड़ परिवारों को 6 रुपयों में 15 किलो गेहूं और 9 रुपयों में 35 किलो चावल दिया जाता है। जो गरीब रेखा से नीचे है उसे सत्ता अनाज मिलेगा। अगर आप चाहे कि कुछ और लोग भी गरीब है, हम उन्हें भी शामिल करेंगे, लेकिन अगर आप यह चाहते हो कि हम किसी और को भी दे दें तो यह संभव नहीं है। पहले गरीब को दीजिए, बाद में उनके बारे में सोचेंगे।
Question number 105. Srimati Jahnavi.
Respected Madam, will the Minister of Home Affairs be pleased to state that what steps government has taken tackle to terrorism in India? Why does not the government establish fast track courts to hear the cases of terrorists?
Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, Ms. Padmavati, please.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, our government is really sincere in its approach to tackle the problem of terrorism, and we have taken various steps to counter this problem. We deployed NSG units in all metropolitan cities. We are also working on giving special commando training to state police agencies so that they can respond effectively during crises. And Madam, we also established a special cell to share intelligence information with state intelligence agencies. After 26/11, our government also established fast-track courts to hear cases related to terrorism. And because of this, terrorists like Kasab couldn't escape the law.
Srimati Jahnavi.
Speaker Madam, thank you for giving me another opportunity. I would like to ask Honorable Minister what steps government has taken for rehabilitation of these victims of attack.
Ms. Padmavati, please.
Speaker Madam, for the moment of government policy is to give a compensation of 5 lakh rupees to defense of dead, 2 lakh rupees to majorly injured and 50,000 rupees to normally injured. But through you, I would like to assure the House that we are working on the bill of rehabilitation where the government has to bear full cost of education of defense of victims and also provide security to the witness of cases related to terrorism.
Srimati Monica.
Speaker Madam, will the Honorable Minister be pleased to state that what the government is doing to stop the infiltration across the Bangladesh border?
Ms. Padmavati, please.
Speaker Madam, for the information of our Honorable Member and our House, I would like to assure that our borders are sealed and intact, and there has been a considerable decline in the infiltration across the border since last years, and our soldiers are well able to handle the situation.
Now the question hour is over. No more supplementary questions, please.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Srimati Gayatri Nagasai, please.
Madam Speaker, a serious breach of privilege has been committed by the Police Inspector Shadowal. 14,000 teachers were holding a state rally against the state government of Punjab at Shadowal village on Patiala Banshan Road in Patiala. On Sunday, with a list of demands, Mr. Randeep Singh, MP while his way to the Parliament via the same road, stopped by to understand the concerns raised by the protesting group. Madam, the police detained Randeep ji, who was thereby restrained from attending Parliament on 10th April 2022.
Srimati Gayatri Nagasai, have I given the notice of it earlier? You may give the notice along with a copy of newspaper cuttings, and I shall consider it. You cannot spring a surprise on me like this.
Yes, Madam, I have already given that notice at 10 a.m. today.
It will be examined when it comes to me, and I shall consider it. Now, papers should be laid. Honorable Minister of Commercial and Industries, Mr. Srilikit, please.
Ma'am, I beg to lay on the table review by the Government of the Working Chemicals and Allied Product Export Promotion Council, Kolkata for the year 2022 and 23. Annual report of Shellac and Forest Products Export Promotion Council, formerly Shellac Export Promotion Council, Kolkata for the year 2022 and 23. Review Hindi and English versions by the Government of the Working Plastics Export Promotion Council, Mumbai for the year 2022 and 23.
Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation, Ms. Pavani.
Madam, I beg to lay on the table a copy of Annual Report of Airports Authority of India, New Delhi for the year 2022-2023 along with audited accounts, and a statement regarding review Hindi and English versions by the Government of Working of Airports Authority of India, New Delhi for the year 2022-2023.
Secretary General to report the message from the upper chamber of the Youth Parliament.
Madam, I have to report the following message from Secretary of the Upper Chamber of the Youth Parliament. In accordance with provisions of rules, procedure and conduct in business, I am directed to enclose a copy of Payment of Gratuity Amendment Bill 2022, which has been passed by the Upper Chamber at its sitting on 22nd March 2022.
Secretary to lay on the table a copy of bill which is passed by the chamber.
Madam, I lay on the table of the House the Payment of Gratuity Amendment Bill 2022, which has been passed by the Upper House.
Honorable members, at this stage of proceedings, I have to make an important announcement. On behalf of me and on behalf of the honorable members of the House, here I have great pleasure in extending our warm and heart welcome to Mr. Kevin Malleri, President of French National Assembly. Ms. Mojwan Lisa, Defense Minister. Mr. Fancy Colliver, Minister for Industry. Mr. Lemon, Minister for Tourism. It is a highly powered delegation. The delegation arrived on 23rd July 2022 for a 5-day visit on invitation of Parliament of India. They are now seated in the special box. We wish them a happy and fruitful stay in our country. We also convey our warm greetings and our best wishes through them to the government of French. Now, the House will take up the next term, a list of business, calling attention motion, Ms. Suhana.
माननीय स्पीकर महोदय, आज हमारे देश के राष्ट्रवाद के मुद्दे को, देशभक्ति के मुद्दे को राजनीतिक रंग दिया जा रहा है। आज हमारे भारतवर्ष के अल्पसंख्यक वर्ग, पिछड़े वर्ग असुरक्षित महसूस कर रहे हैं। देश भर में असहिष्णुता बढ़ती ही जा रही है। इन मुद्दों पर हमारे सत्ता पक्ष के मित्रों का क्या विचार है? सरकार अपना रुख स्पष्ट करे।
Minister of Minority Affairs, Ms. Asmat Unisa.
हमारा देश भारत है, नदी गोदावरी गंगा। माननीय सभापति महोदय, आज हमारे देश में 1600 बोलियां 12 धर्मों के अनुयायी और विभिन्न संप्रदायों को मानने वाले लोग निवास करते हैं। कुछ लोग ईश्वर के साकार रूप को पूजा करते, तो कुछ लोग ईश्वर की निराकार रूप की उपासना करते हैं। कुछ समुदाय लोग पौधों में परमात्मा को मानते तो कुछ समुदाय लोग परमात्मा के अस्तित्व में ही विश्वास नहीं करते। ऐसे विभिन्नताओं से भरा हुआ एक ही देश हमारा भारत देश, हमारा संविधान हमारा आईना, हमारे जो हजारों वर्षों की जो सांस्कृतिक की विरासत है उनकी अभिव्यक्ति है। हमारी सरकार संविधान के दायरे में रहकर देश को चलाने की प्रयत्न कर रही है, सबको जोड़कर सबको विकास करने की पद्धति पर काम कर रही है। और हमारे जो प्रत्येक देशवासी है ना, हमारे जो दलित, पीड़ित, शोषित और वंचित भारतवासी है, उनके लिए और उनके स्थान के लिए प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं। और हम सांसदों जो शपथ लेकर इस पावन सदन में आए हैं कि हम किसी विशेष धर्म के, किसी विशेष संप्रदाय के, किसी विशेष विचारधारा के प्रतिनिधि है, हम पूरे भारतवर्ष के प्रतिनिधि हैं। और 125 करोड़ भारतवासियों का कल्याण वही तो हमारा जिम्मेदारी है। सभापति महोदय, हमारा सरकार एक रूपता की पक्षधर नहीं है, हम एकता का पक्षधर है और सभी संप्रदायों को फैलाना और फुलाना न इसी भारत के भूमि पर ही संभव है।
मैडम,
may I?
Please follow the norms of the house. Please be seated.
Sorry, madam.
Miss Asmatunisa, please continue.
थैंक यू मैम। इसी से एक और पक्ष उठता है कि आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया क्या है। आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया सर्वधर्म समभाव, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखी, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, वसुधैव कुटुम्बम। यह गांधी और बुद्ध का पावन कर्म भूमि है। यह अहिंसा परमो धर्म का मंत्र दिया गया है। यहाँ तक कि स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने भी कहा है, भारत का आदर्श है वेदांतिक ब्रेन कपल्ड विद इस्लामिक बॉडी, विविधता में एकता, यही तो हमारा पहचान है। कवि इकबाल ने भी कहा है कि कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारा, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जहां हमारा, सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा। सभापति महोदय, आज हमारे देश में भोजन के नाम पर, संप्रदाय के नाम पर और जाति के नाम पर लोगों को बांटने की काम किया जा रहा है। और ये आज से नहीं चला रहा है, लंबे अरसों से चला रहा है। जातिवाद का जहर और संप्रदायवाद का जहर घुलता चला रहा है। और इसी बीच कुछ असामाजिक तत्व ने धर्म की चुनरी ओढ़कर समाज में अशांति फैलाने की काम कर रही है। हर जो ध्रुवीकरण की राजनीति की जा रही है, जो लोग अपनी राजनीति की रोटियां सेक रहे हैं, यह शर्मनाक है। सभापति महोदय, हमारे देश को संविधान के दायरे में रहकर चलना होगा। किसी को भी कानून हाथ पे लेने के अधिकार नहीं है, किसी को कोई भेदभाव करने की भी कोई अधिकार नहीं है। कानून कठोरता से काम करता है। इन घटनाओं में उन्हें अधिक सख्ती बरतना होगा। हमने विभिन्न राज्य सरकारों को ऐसे अवांछनीय उन्मूलन के लिए डोसिया तैयार करने की निर्देश दिया है। सभापति महोदय, पिछले कुछ दिनों से इन मुद्दों को एक विशेष रंग दिया जा रहा है, एक विशेष समुदाय को ही निशाने किया जा रहा है। यह जो रंगीकरण और सेलेक्टिव टारगेटिज्म है ना, ये सरासर गलत है और देश की एकता, अखंडता और अक्षुण्णता से समझौता नहीं किया जा सकता है। देश की आतंकवादी मुद्दे पर, अलगवाद मुद्दे पर और नक्सलवाद के मुद्दे पर संकटित है और होना चाहिए। सभापति महोदय, मैं आप सबको ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, क्या हमारा आर्मी का वो जवान जो भीषण गर्मी में, कड़ाके ठंडे में दिन या रात देश के रक्षा के लिए खड़े, वे मन समर्पित, तन समर्पित, देह के कण कण समर्पित, चाहता हूँ देश की धरती तुझे कुछ और भी दूं कि विचार से ओत-प्रोत है। ये क्या किसी धर्म के लिए खड़े हैं, किसी संप्रदाय के लिए खड़े हैं? वे 125 करोड़ भारतवासियों का रक्षण के लिए खड़े हैं। और इसी प्रकार हम सांसदों का क्या धर्म होना चाहिए? क्या हिंदू होना चाहिए? क्या मुसलमान होना चाहिए? क्या सिख होना चाहिए या ईसाई होना चाहिए? हम सांसदों का और सारा सरकार का एक ही धर्म है, इंडिया। हमारा एक ही धर्म ग्रंथ है, भारत का संविधान। हमारा सबका एक ही पूजा है, 125 करोड़ भारतवासियों का कल्याण। हमारा एक ही कार्यशाला है, एक सर्वांगीण विकास और दरिद्र नारायण के उत्थान। इसी के लिए हम सब कटिबद्ध और प्रतिबद्ध है। सभापति महोदय, अंत में मैं आपसे और सारा देश को ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि क्या मुसलमान भाइयों को हिंदू भाइयों के साथ लड़ना है? क्या हिंदू भाइयों को मुसलमान भाइयों के साथ लड़ना है? क्या सिख वर्ण लोग को अग्रवर्ण के साथ लड़ना है? क्या अग्रवर्ण लोग को सिख वर्ण लोग के साथ लड़ना है क्या? आओ, मैं आह्वान करती हूँ, हिंदू मुसलमान एक होकर, दलित वर्ण लोग अग्रवर्ण लोग एक होकर गरीबी के खिलाफ लड़ेंगे, संप्रदायवादी के खिलाफ लड़ेंगे, बेरोजगारी के खिलाफ लड़ेंगे और हम सब मिलकर स्वतंत्रता सेनानियां बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर ने जो सपना देखा था उसके लिए अपना कर्तव्य मानेंगे और एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के दिशा में अपना कदम बढ़ाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, Mr. Sai Krishna, to introduce the bill.
Madam, I beg to move for leave to introduce a bill, the Code on Social Security 2022.
The question is that the leave be granted to introduce a bill, the Code on Social Security Bill 2022. Those who are in favor, please say yes. Those who are not in favor, please say no. I think yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. Leave is granted.
Madam, I introduce the bill.
The bill will be considered in the next session of the Parliament. Now, the House will take up the consideration of Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2021. Minister of State Home Affairs, Mr. Moshe, please.
Madam, I beg to move for leave to introduce and repeal section 499 and 500 of Indian Penal Code, which relates with criminal defamation. This bill provides decriminalization of defamation, both libel and slander. Madam, House is aware of issue that criminal defamation is often misused as a tool of harassment. Criminal sanctions are most severe sanctions that society could impose on a person. There must be proportionality between the effects of the measure responsible for limiting the right or freedom and the objective identified as sufficient importance. Madam, the government has brought this bill for this August House with an intent to do away with its prevalent misuse. The sections 499 and 500 of IPC makes a person liable for publishing any statement that is likely to be understood by someone of public as state dismantling reputation. Madam, the government has brought this bill for this August House. Here some of the important provisions are as follows. The bill defines defamation comprehensively to include not only traditional methods of defamation but also mentions cyber defamation. The bill repeals sections 499 and 500 of IPC. The bill provides non-reciprocal effects of repealing sections of 499 and 500 of IPC. Madam Speaker, I am confident that all the honorable members of this House, irrespective of party affiliation, will welcome the bill wholeheartedly and through it helps to make Indian law on defamation with international standards. With these words, I now move Criminal Law Bill 2022.
Srimati Nagadurga, would you like to speak about this?
Honorable Speaker, Madam,
there is no need to repeal this act, as it has been existing since the formation of Penal Code and has not yet been challenged in the court of law.
Mr. Moshe, please.
Respected member, this government represents will of people. The need of art pertains not to be criminalized defamation, but to acknowledge freedom to speak without fear is ensured. Even though the lawmakers did next decriminalize defamation, they create a provision for amendment. The needs of agrarian society may also change. The present amendment is in response to Supreme Court guidelines and demands of society.
Srimati Lasya.
I would like to bring to the notice of Honorable Speaker Madam that the backlog of cases in High Courts and Supreme Court regarding criminal defamation has already piled up, and bringing this amendment now would have an adverse effect on people who have filed this case and are seeking recourse from our legal system.
Srimati Loita.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I rise to support this bill. The present law on criminal defamation is not formulated with sufficient precision to enable the citizens to regulate his conduct. In fact, the restrictions must be impede the right as soon as possible. The law must be subjected to effective control. The sections of 499 and 500 of IPC were enacted to put a check on abuse of free speech. For restrictions to pursue a legitimate aim, it must satisfy the conditions of national security and public orders. With these words stating that the law does not pursue legitimate, and I strongly support this bill.
Mr. Moshe, please.
Madam, I hope that I answered the most of the points raised by members in course of my speech. I once again thank you for your support and seek your cooperation in implementing this measure. I request the House to pass the bill.
Motion moved that the bill is passed. Those who are in favor, please say yes. Those who are not in favor, please say no. I think yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. Bill is passed. Now, the House will take up private member resolution. Ms. Nehapriya to move the resolution.
Madam Speaker, I move the following resolution. This House recommends that the government should take steps to review the decisions to invite foreign universities into the country and make necessary arrangements to provide better facilities for the scholars. Madam, education is the manifestation of human behavior which is already within, said Swami Vivekananda. India is the abode of world-famous universities like Nalanda and Takshashila, where scholars from all over the world came and studied. Now, the plight is that these foreign universities are going to play a dominant role in Indian education system. It is being said that these universities will provide best scientific and technological education and reduce the financial burden to the country by saving crores of dollars being spent by the students for their education in the universities abroad. But madam, there are many other organizations in India also like IIT, IBM, IIM, IIS, IISR and CCMB, which are nowhere less than these so-called best universities. When these universities are facing shortage of funds, how can the government provide facilities like land, infrastructure and other facilities? What we feel is that these native universities can also promote educational standards if the same money is spent on them.
Ms. Harniskan, please.
Madam Speaker, here I would like to add something related to the 3 universities' performances in other countries like China, Israel, Singapore, where this experiment already have failed.
And here is the report on their performances, madam. Not only that, madam, the best faculty working for the native universities may find a better opportunity and pay in these new universities, and that would further damage the reputation of these new organizations. Madam, this is absolutely against the Swadeshi call of Mahatma. Is it not?
Miss Suvarna Rani, please.
Madam Speaker, I congratulate my honorable members for bringing a good topic into the House for discussion. I rise to support the resolution that is passed by my friends. Such a decision to invite foreign universities into India would only prove once again the great faith of Indians in the English system of education. In that great urge for improving the standards, the government is keeping the creativity aside. Madam, educational standards can be improved with the inalienable support to the creative ideas of the intellectuals. Creativity always flourishes with the trust with the intelligentsia, but not by discouraging them. Already, the country is being swayed by the waves of brain drain. This would further worsen the situation. The government should know that India had made tremendous progress in various fields by itself. Studies say that minimum 6% of GDP need to be allocated for the education in the country, and out of that 4% GDP need to be allocated for the education, whereas only 3.5% of GDP is allocated for the education in the country, and out of that 0.4% of GDP is spent for the higher education. Madam, educational standards can be improved. The government should stop this, and the government should implement many measures to take this. Thank you.
Miss Pujita Chimakurti, please. Madam Speaker, here is another point to be viewed seriously. It is heard that a new institution is also going to be established called National Council for Higher Education and Research, which would work in places of national institutes like UGC and AICT. Further, it is going to control the working of institutions of higher learning in the country. If this is all true, what would be the fate of Indian education system? Won't the financially backward students deprive the opportunity to seek higher education for want of money? Will they not be crushed under the heavy amount of firmity? I would like the Minister of HRD to clarify the matter to us. Minister for HRD, Mr. Stephen Sunesh, please.
Madam Speaker, I do appreciate the thorough survey made by honorable colleagues, and I also assure the House that all their fears will be taken into consideration before taking any decision. And I also assure you through Madam that every eligible student will be provided with an opportunity to seek their higher education irrespective of their financial status. The proposed universities will be working under the guidelines of ministries. Madam Speaker, the proposal is not new. In 2005, the proposal came in service of WTO, the National Knowledge Commission, and the committee is under Dr. Eshpal supported this. Any such organization which is interested in establishing, it should follow these guidelines. The first one, it should apply to the UGC. The second one, it needs to have at least 20 years of experience in field of education. The third one, it should possess all financial and allied sources needed. And the last one, it should deposit 50 crores of corpus fund. Not only this, Madam, there is a strict framework under which these institutions would be working, and before finalizing the decision, solutions of my honorable members will be taken into consideration. And I request honorable members to please withdraw their resolution. Thank you, Madam.
Miss Neha Priya.
Speaker Madam, I am grateful to the members who have rendered their support to my resolution. I am also grateful to the members who have rendered their support to my resolution. Now, as the Minister has given the assurance, I would like to withdraw my resolution.
Motion moved that the resolution is withdrawn. Those who were in favor will please say yes. Those who are not in favor, please say no. I think yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. The resolution by the leave of the House is withdrawn. Now, the House is adjourned till 11 a.m. tomorrow. India is the largest democratic country in the world. Parliament is the heart of democracy. It is an hollow temple where the bills are passed by the people's representatives. We have just completed the mock session of Parliament. The ruling party and the opposition party members take the discussions in favor of the people for their welfare, for the development of various sectors that provide employment, food, shelter to all the sections of society. This is possible only when the Parliament conducts its session smoothly without any disturbance and waste of time, money. So the members of the Parliament should maintain the decency and decorum while the Parliament sessions are being conducted. Then only it is possible to pass the bills in favor of the people for their welfare as per the norms of Constitution. So we have just tried to present an ideal Parliament session. Thank you for the people who had made this function and encouraged us. Thank you very much.